My bag is pretty much packed and ready to go. And this is the time. Gonna be a long day today. So ignoring some of the extra stuff in my garage, I packed up a lot of my stuff last night. So we've got headshots. It's a corporate photography conference today, and I've got staged headshots. So I've got to do a little portable headshot station, and then I've got a few staged photos. So we do need some lighting, and then we also have a few, like candid photos throughout the event. So I'm actually going to run in and grab one more thing, but what I'm bringing for headshots is basically the same setup as the one I did for the church headshots. So we've got our 200 watt bicolor light. We've got our 28-inch softbox, maybe. Actually forget how, 90 centimeters. So whatever that is. This is our green screen that I'm just going to make gray. We've got all our rigging and stuff in here, tennis balls in case the floor is nice, just extra rigging stuff in there. 2 C-stands here, and rock and roller, and our rolling stand. This is going to be big because I'm not going to have to carry our big light everywhere. I'll just be able to roll it, which is going to be hopefully super clutch. So I'm going to run in back inside and grab the lantern that I have just in case I need to light up a big space. I'm going to run in and grab that just so I have it. And then I got to go pack up the car. I'm also grabbing these 3 things. These are the 2 newer portable lights that I talked about in another video. They're great, they're amazing, and I'm potentially going to do a little overhead rig just to use these as a hair light. And this is the clamp that I will clamp them to. So I'll clamp this to the C-stand, and then this 1/4-20 thread will go into the bottom there. This little rental car has been great for the most part, better than the truck in that it doesn't smell terrible, and honestly I don't know if I'd be able to fit this without using the bed of the truck, but I'm glad that I'm just doing photos today, because if I was doing everything I need for video, I might not be able to fit it in this car. So I had to be up very early because the gig this morning was in Louisville. So from where I'm at, Louisville is about an hour 45, and I wanted to make sure I had enough time to unload and everything. So I had to leave my house basically by 6 a.m. to make the 8 a.m. call time. Yeah, it was a long drive in the morning, and I had to make the same drive again in the evening. So not ideal. Travel costs weren't technically built into the invoice, but it was a pretty well-paying job. So I just kind of mentally assumed it was built in. So 2 hours later, by the time I was getting close and approaching Louisville, the sun was mostly up. You can see the magic hour kind of hitting the buildings. Yeah, it was a early morning rise and grind, but it was cool. I got there on time and pulled into the hotel. I thought this view of the building was cool with the sunrise behind it. So I parked out front, got my cart all set up. This building was super cool. There was a ton of like art installations in here. It was technically a hotel, but you saw that like projector thing, and then this artwork here. The bathrooms were super funky. There was just a lot of, again, like art installations in here, and they were all very unique. The event was being hosted in a private gallery, which was cool. And it was cool to feel like we were, kind of a big deal at the building. Just parked my car, and I'm now walking back to the hotel. But there was one thing I couldn't fit on my cart, and that is this. Walking through the streets of Louisville with a stool. And then I showed my stool to the cool projector art piece. So we've got a nice big room to work with here for headshots. And I think this light here, somewhere here, is flickering. Yep, right there, I just saw it. So I'm gonna move this stool over here and work against this wall. But I've got a whole bunch of stuff to unpack. But I'm gonna do the same setup I did for the church headshots, which I think turned out really great. So we're gonna do a key light coming in from this way, and then we're gonna do overhead. I'm gonna put my 5-in-1 reflector to cut out all the overhead light, and then we're gonna do potentially some backlight. And then I've got the portable green screen here that we're gonna set up. So I'll show you guys that setup, and you'll watch it magically appear. Ta-da! Just kidding. I moved it. These spotlights were killing me. They were hitting the green in a weird way, and so I moved this over here. Key light here, 200 watt from GVM. Again, reflector up top. I'm gonna put, I've got those two newer battery powered lights I'm gonna put on that one at a time, just to give a little bit of edge light here in our subject for the headshots. But yeah, I'm gonna set camera up and see how this looks. I don't have a tripod to do that with. Maybe I can use the C stand to see how it looks, but yeah, we're gonna see how these turn out. So based on my front-facing camera on my iPhone, I think this looks pretty good. We've got our key light there, and then I'm using the newer battery-powered lights that I showed earlier as just a little bit of a hair light and an edge light. And it's kind of filling in this side of my face. There's an affiliate link for those in the description of last vlog, this vlog, and all the vlogs going forward. So I would appreciate that. If you want to support the channel, feel free to use my affiliate links. And then I've got the 5-in-1 reflector clamped to a C-stand overhead. And that's our setup. I think these headshots, at least from my iPhone camera, I think they're gonna look pretty good. So we'll get some test shots done, and then we'll get some people in here. I was thinking this might be a good idea I brought actually both of these brand newer V-mount batteries, charging the newer RGB lights. So I've got one set up right over there, you can see it, and I have two of them. So I've got one charging right now just to make sure they are both powered up and ready to go. I don't want to run out of batteries. So yeah, I'm gonna get my camera set up. The room actually that I'm shooting in is pretty small, so I don't know if I'm gonna need the 70 to 200 unless I want to get close-ups on faces. So I'm gonna swap to the 24 to 70 and start getting some shots out there. Okay, so I just went out and did some test shots, or just walked out there with the camera, and it's definitely looking dark. I was gonna have to go up to like 2, maybe even 3000 ISO, which I've done before, but I invested in this flash. And I want to test it out. I've never really done flash photography, especially with an external flash before. So I've got this diffuser on it. It's just a nice little cap. This is the Godox TT600. It is supposedly compatible directly with Sony cameras. And I did test it out. So I just haven't used it yet to actually take pictures of something. So I'm gonna go test it out for the first time and not drop it. I promise I caught it. So the first problem I'm seeing, I'm sure you can tell even more than I can with my eyes. It doesn't even look, it looks better with my eyes, but the flash is blue and the lighting inside is all warm. So theoretically, if I had a gel, that would be great. And I don't. So we're gonna have to problem solve, or maybe just not use this flash. All right, I don't think the flash is gonna work. The room is too big. And just with the color temp, I need a gel. I think they came with gels, and I really don't think I threw it away, but there's a chance that I did. This is the problem that can happen when you're working with gear for the first time, and just in general. I mean, I've never used an external flash before on a professional photo gig. I'm not a seasoned professional photographer. I do photography, and a lot of times I just do it with video lights. So even with headshots, I know a lot of people would take headshots with some kind of flash photography light. But I just always use video lights because I do video, so that's what I own. So yeah, I'm gonna go without the flash. I'm gonna crank the ISO. There are some skylights in the room that I'm hoping will give some more natural light as the day goes on. But we're just gonna have to deal with it, and praise the Lord for excellent noise reduction in Adobe Lightroom. So I did a few more tests with the flash. You can kind of see them here. I tried adjusting my white balance on my camera, but I really just found that the photos looked unnatural and very fake and very forced when I used the flash. I really just think that taking on some external noise is gonna be the best way to go for this. So I was just kind of scrolling through some of the pictures that I got.
and I was pretty happy with them. They look dark on the screen. iPhone capturing an LCD screen on a camera is not doing them justice. But I think they turned out pretty good, and I was happy to be able to feel like I got some decent shots. So most of the day was pretty relaxed. The event just had a bunch of presentations, and capturing those was pretty much just a variety of wide shots and tight shots on the speaker, and then same thing facing the other way, wide shots and tight shots of the room listening. So pretty simple stuff, and definitely got very repetitive very quickly. Once I had shot one, I had pretty much shot them all, except for the fact that it was different speakers every time. So I needed to make sure I captured the same thing of every presentation. Another challenge I was dealing with was, you can see here, the banding from the fluorescent lights. I don't know if that's called banding, but the stripes that are going across the image, the higher my shutter speed was, the more of this effect that I got. So I had to be very cautious of this as I was shooting. But again, I was kind of just floating today. We had a producer there and a videographer / DP. They were capturing interviews and B-roll most of the day. So I was kind of just floating around the event and getting what pictures I needed to, and every once in a while the producer would come find me and let me know that we were taking specific pictures. But it was a cool space to be in. Again, even the room that we were in had this cool art installation through the ceiling, and then after lunch was time for headshots. I made a creative decision once I got back in and saw that my lights were fully charged to put both of these here and give them a little bit more power. And I think it worked out. I can show you here. These are the headshots, or one of them, that I think turned out pretty good. Obviously, I'm going to key out the green and give them just a neutral gray background. But I think the lighting turned out pretty good. I'm still, again, I am not a professional photographer, I don't believe. I don't market myself as that. I market myself as a DP and a video person. But I was pretty happy. I think, again, skills are transferable. I can make someone look good in an interview, so I can mostly take a good headshot. After the headshots, we moved into more staged shots. So we had two of our main people from the event sitting in this restaurant, and we were kind of just, again, like staging shots. So we'd float between, and the DP doing video would be on one side and I would be on the other side. Just kind of getting those, like I said, stage shots. It was cool. I also wanted to point out this setup from the DP. He was essentially rocking a easy rig with a homemade gimbal ring, I guess you could call it, which I don't know if this version is more stable and fluid, because he had essentially, you can kind of see a bar hanging from the easy rig with straps that came down and held the gimbal, the side handles of the gimbal, with chains. And it was really cool to see. I'd never seen anything like this design. And he had the FX6 fully rigged up with a V-mount battery, with a top handle, with the LCD screen and a top monitor, all on this gimbal. And I was, first of all, just impressed with the gimbal. Second of all, with the uniqueness of the design. And I just thought it was super cool watching him work. So again, I was still floating, doing photos during all of this shooting, but it was cool to just kind of watch him work. Could tell that the DP was definitely experienced, which was a really cool thing to be around.
So it turned out to be a great idea to bring these V-mounts. I plugged in my battery charger, and it's been like an hour maybe, and this thing's already back up to full. And I've also used other percentage to charge the lights, and we're still at 77%. So great idea to bring this, and it's working out great. We've got plenty of charge left on this thing. So, and I've got two.
This was another art installation I thought was just super cool. And this was the one BTS shot I got of me working. You can see I'm dual wielding my camera with the 70-200 and a granola bar. This was one of the only things I ate all day. Most of the time I was running back and forth. I noticed that it would be super helpful to have a second photo camera body. Most of the day I was jumping back and forth to
swap lenses. So I would take all the shots of the presentation with the 70-200, and then I'd go back to the room where I had my gear staged and swap back to the 24-70 to get the wide shots. Definitely not the ideal way to do it, but you got to do what you got to do. And I only had one camera body. I thought about bringing my FX3 to take pictures with, but I honestly don't know. I thought there was a chance the photos would turn out better, but also it's not a photo camera, so I don't know. I would be interested to do a test of those two cameras side by side. You can see here I had to take a wide shot of the group at the end, a big group photo, which mostly turned out good. The shadow on them is kind of bad, but I brought my big rolling light out to illuminate them. I would rather do that than crank up the ISO for the big group picture. We did more B-roll outside with two more of the, I guess you call them characters for the event. He had a backpack with the company logo on it, so we did some nice branded shots, video and photo. Definitely gave me some good ideas on the video side of how to make those shots happen. The DP did a great job of just making some nice fluid transition shots, and again, it was just so cool to watch this Frankenstein almost of a rig with the gimbal and the makeshift easy rig ring. I don't know, it was just cool to watch. Walking back to the car now. What a day. Honestly, not that hard of a day, just a long day. So keeping the focus up was, I'd say, the biggest challenge. Just keep myself focused and attentive. It was a lot of the same stuff over and over and over and over again. So happy with what I got. Just again, it's a long day. So. And the editing shouldn't be too bad either. I just talked with the guy. I was worried. I mean, I took probably 2,000 photos today. So I was hoping, please don't let me have to edit all of those. But I think it'll be a pretty easy editing process. The headshots I'll have to do all of. And then he said probably 30 to 50 of my best shots edited. Everything else he's got raw. So should be pretty easy, I'm hoping. So yeah, time to make the long trek home.